Hello guys, welcome back to, well, I wouldn't say back to, welcome to my guide on how to make a sampled beat. So we're gonna get started with the requirements. The first things you're gonna need is FL Studio. Probably gonna need a few drum kits. So you're in the FL Studio, just pretend that everything is here, blah blah blah. So you have your sample and you want to add it into your thingy, right? You take your sample from where it is. Once you drop a sample in, once you drop a sample in, I accidentally dropped it right here, so it's like in a weird, it did something weird. Don't worry about that, just drag it into like in here, not on there, because I messed that up. But anyways, so you're gonna find wherever you want to actually make the cut for the beat. You want to go to wherever that is. For instance, uh dun, 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 dun. So, for instance, mine is literally just from the start because it's the sample. But if you're in the song, like for instance, I would use a sample. So real quick, I'm gonna just show you guys real quick. So I have this website called yt5s.o that I download my sounds from. You download it and you want to put it into your thing, right? So you just drag it onto here and then drag it into here. So now what? You're like, oh, okay, well, how do I make the sample? So you want to find anywhere in the song that you think is very nice, or it could be simple and you want to make it very nice. You can do that. So for instance, you got the casual. Everybody knows a Weed song by now, but so that way I'm not being generic, I'm gonna sample it from somewhere that isn't really sampled a lot. So we're going. So I'm gonna show you guys a very good example that I didn't know when I first started making beats. So when I first started making beats, I used to try to sample stuff from this part. Unfortunately, you cannot do that unless you put it to the back. And what I mean by that is this beginning part is not a start for a sample. The start for the sample would genuinely be the part where this happens. It's like where you can hear a beat. So for instance, if you put this, if we were to sample, okay, I'll sample this right now. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that because it's gonna be confusing. It's very confusing when you first start getting into beats. That's why I recommend sampling like Sonic songs because they're pretty easy to tell where a loop starts. This not so much because you kind of gotta tell. You just gotta have that mental that it's like, oh, this doesn't start here because it'll sound weird in a beat. So for instance, if I play it from here, that's way better. And then the start of it would be at the end. That's a loop right there. So then what you would do after you find the loop that you want to use, you can make unique as sample. And you guys don't understand how happy I am that I could finally make this video because God, there's that one dude in my comments every video. Yo, when are you gonna show me how to make beats? When are you? Look, man, I don't hate you, but bro, calm it down. I was gonna get to it eventually. So first things first, once you get your loop set, let me put it back to how it was. So right after you make unique as a sample, right? It'll be off of tempo and just like all over the place. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna double click it. You see this time knob? You're going to stretch it up, up, up until it's at 5. Now, if you want it to be faster, put it at 3. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually super sick, but just for the sake of the video, I'm gonna put it here because that's a little bit more advanced, but I'm gonna put it here and now we got the sample. So once you put it here, it's free and ready to be tweaked with the tempo. So for instance, if you have this here, you want to put it at 160, you can do that because it's on tempo with the timeline or whatever you would call this, and it's on tempo with the tempo. So faster, faster, faster. That is the sample loop. So the ideal sample or beat BPM is usually 140. So I'm going to use that. So now on to the actual beat making process. We have the loop and we have it on tempo. So now what? And if you want one more tip, if you want to make sure that it's actually on tempo, you're gonna click on the metronome and so it's on tempo. So first things first, you're gonna just pop this pattern one right here. This is gonna be our drum pattern. This is going to be our drum loop that we're going to use in the beat. Now you can always use a multiple of these, and I always do that. I usually start out with like a little simple kick and a clap and an 808, then I switch it up and make it like a kick clap snare 808, or like I even delay my clap sometimes. A lot of that stuff is very advanced, but it's really not. It's not even that hard. So first things first, you guys are going to want to open up your channel rack thingy here, and basically what this does is it just opens a channel rack. Boom, pop, bada bop, boom. So next thing that you want to do is you're going to go to one of your drum kits that you downloaded. You guys are going to want to I start out with claps first. So I always use the same clap, or I switch it up, use a snare. It doesn't matter, claps or snares, or even snaps. I don't use snaps, and I kind of want to try it, but it don't matter. We'll see how this goes. So once you get your clap, pick one. You find one. This is the one that I like. You're gonna set the mixer track on it, and you can set this to any one of these, but just don't set another instrument on this one unless it's like, you know, because like this is where you control everything. And I'll show you guys what I mean by that. So we're gonna make this quick little clap pattern. So one, yeah. It lit. So we got that drum pattern, and as you guys can see, when we come back, the drum pattern is here. This is what's making the sound. Yeah. You have a hi-hat and you want to drag it in and practically do the same thing. You can build in hi-hat like this, but I mean, like, if you don't feel like doing that since you're just now learning, you can just click fill each 2 steps and it'll make an automatic hi-hat for you. Oh, by the way, some hi-hats are weird and they'll like flip out. Sometimes you gotta click use loop points right here to stop it from doing like overlapping each other. So like, that's an automatic hi-hat right there. Pretty basic, pretty simple. So the next thing that I usually do is I get a kick. So now that we got that, we're gonna trim this, blah blah blah. We're in there. So now you could just experiment. So like sometimes I did that to explain sort of what I mean when I say experiment. So sometimes you hear how that sounds off. Kicks can be in the wrong spot, and not a lot of people realize that their kicks are in the wrong spot until they hear it enough times, and they're like, yeah, that's not right. So basically from here, you're just gonna also whenever you have FL Studios fresh and free, it's gonna be on this mode that you guys gotta take it off of. So you guys are gonna come to view, and you're gonna click on key labels, and you're gonna click on all notes. It'll be on root notes, and it'll only show like certain notes, and that's very annoying, especially for people who use 808s that go up and down or whatever. It's like, bro, how am I supposed to see what note I'm on, bro? Yeah, like it shows you like when you click on it, but that's this no. So basic kick patterns you guys could do is this. So very basic, very generic, and very simple. But if you guys want to get a bouncy drum kit, drum pattern, you're gonna And by the way, I'm so sorry if I keep misclicking stuff. I got a new mouse and it like the DPI on it is crazy and I'm not used to it. So, therefore I'm sorry. Bro, I accidentally did that. Don't. So like you can even start, going crazy with it. So, great. We have our foundation for our beat. Our beat. But hey, Tana, I want to be different. I want to have 808s that go boom boom. I want to make this junk lit. I want to get this junk hype. I want to get this junk crazy. The ideal thing for me, if I want to get a beat going crazy, I would definitely probably try turning up the tempo up to 150. That's my ideal area when I want to make a beat brutal and like go crazy. So, for instance, we got 150 now, and it sounds a bit different. It's faster. Sounds a little bit more bouncier, right? You get somebody moving like this, right? So the very next step, if you guys want to use 808s, and that's our onto the next chapter, 808s. So the thing about 808s is that they're like bass. So when bass is put together with another loud bass or spectrum, I don't know if I'm wording this right, but basically what I'm saying is when one 808 is next to another 808, they don't work because they're like they have to have, I don't know, but basically if your 808 sound wonky, you're going to take your sample, right? You're going to double click on your sample and you're going to put the track measure on 1. I do this by default because just to make sure that my 808s don't sound bad. You're going to look down at here, this equalizer, and you're going to turn that bad boy all the way down. Now, it's going to take a little bit away from the sample, but that gives you room to go crazy with the 808s. So, it'll just be missing bass, and that's fine because our 808s are going to be replacing the bass. Now, I'm pretty sure some people know how to get their 808s to go with the bass. I don't know how to do that, so I'll turn it down. So we're going to go to pattern, and we're going to put an 808 down and an 808 right next to it. You hear how it's like, you hear that like that sound? Yeah, that's because the 808s are overlapping each other. But if you click cut itself, it'll cut the sound for when the next 808 comes. So for instance, so like that's a pretty cool pattern I just made up on the spot, I ain't gonna lie. So I'm not gonna lie, this pattern probably wouldn't fit into the sample that well, but we'll see if it matches. So let's click on it and it definitely doesn't sound bad. I actually like it. So these are some of the wildest 808s I've ever heard, and I love it. So, boom, bop, bang. You have the foundation of a beat. You did it. You made a beat. So, before I do all that, I want to show you guys how to like build your beats. So, for instance, delete everything, but don't delete it, but just move it out the way. Boom, you got your sample. You're gonna hold control and hover over it, and you're gonna hold shift and drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. That is how you duplicate your sample, so you can build just like a little intro for your beat, kind of. Now, other times, if I want to make a dramatic intro, I'll click make unique and I'll slow it down by clicking the stretch button right here and just slowing it down. and it's gonna sound very crazy, but it sounds pretty cool, right? That's kind of the ideal point that we're trying to get at by doing this. Now, the beat sounds pretty wonky because it has no 808. But wait, the tutorial doesn't end there. So if you guys want to get in depth with building your beat, which you should, because if you just listen, you should, all right? So I feel like the first thing that you should do is put the claps in. So boom. So your 808, your hi-hats are going to be here, except my hi-hats look a little bit different because they're actually a loop hi-hat, and I feel like I use this hi-hat too much, but I don't care. So how do you use imagine, okay, just if you had loops, I'll show you guys how to use them. So boom, this is a loop, right? It's a pretty nice loop. It's like a ride loop. So you're gonna drag it until it matches with this. And even my favorite loop of all time, this is a pretty great loop. Not a lot of people use it. I mean, a lot of people use it, but they gatekeep it. So, like, you have no idea where to find it. And your boy got it. So, I'm gatekeeping that mug, too. So, and then what you would do is you would put the kick and then the 808 on it, and boom, you have your beat pattern right here. Make sure it's all lined up, everything is lined up, good to go. I keep messing this up because of my mouse, because I just got a new mouse, but drag everything, press Control B to copy it over. And like you can even like go farther with all of this and even add an acapella on it to make it go crazy. And I'll show you guys that example over here. So we're gonna name this We, because I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna probably finish this beat and upload it on YouTube if you guys like it enough. This is the sample at the top, fire sample. If you had never heard this song, you gotta hear it, bro.